game. I'm going to introduce myself to some of the rest of the guys. Croydon, Doha.
So here we are, everyone, poolside in Qatar. This is the World Cup Radar, live from not only Qatar, but also London. Myself, Adam Leventhal, James Horncastle is alongside me. Great to see you, James.
Welcome to my office, Adam. This is my desk behind me. Yeah, great to have you with us for the first time. I'm sure you'll be a guest again at Villa Al Horncastle.
That's actually what he's branded it. In London, of course, Michael Bailey, great to see you, and Carl Anka back once again. How are you back in London?
Doing very well, thanks. This is an exciting day. As you can tell, I'm declaring my allegiances quite early in this match day morning.
Well,
yes.
And it looks fantastic. What a shirt, by the way. I can't concentrate. That pool looks so inviting.
Yeah, this is a sort of moment in broadcasting where you just go, yeah. Let's do it in front of the pool. Let's make them jealous. Let's make them feel the fact that there is such a massive contrast between the weather in London and the weather in Qatar. And I can only apologise. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. Anyway.
So what have you got coming up later?
Well, this is match day 5. By the end of today, all 4 games, every single team would have played at least once. So I'm probably getting into some really big spreadsheets and some XG charts and looking to who's real and who's looking a bit shaky in the light. Yourself?
Well, we've got a lot coming up, but we can obviously see who's going to be your radar player in the background. Let's concentrate here in Qatar, James, on what's coming up today, because you're off to see Brazil. Are you excited?
I'm really excited. I got to see them in September play against Tunisia in Paris, and they put on a real show. It's incredible how this team has evolved in the last couple of years since they won the Copa America in 2021. They've got more talent. I mean, Vinicius Jr., Anthony, Rodrigo, all there to kind of supplement the likes of Richarlison, who will, if he has shaken off that injury that he picked up at Spurs, start for them up front. Obviously, it's Neymar's last World Cup, or so he says. He doesn't think he can mentally endure another one. And I was at Chiche's press conference yesterday at the International Broadcasting Centre, and Thiago Silva was next to him. And there'd been some debate as to who was going to captain Brazil. It is going to be Thiago Silva. And he just looked quite serene. And, you know, just following some of their open training sessions, there's a really good atmosphere about them. Now, there was a good atmosphere about Argentina before they played against Saudi Arabia, and that all changed. And, you know, we've seen the shocks so far. Saudi against Argentina, Japan against Germany. Serbia are better, I would say, than Saudi or Japan. So we may see another shock. It may be another long night, Adam.
Well, it may well be. Do you think that will play? It's played to the advantage of Brazil to just be able to watch all this toil and surprise sort of hardship that all the other big guns are facing, or some of the big guns?
I suppose. I think they just want to get their tournament underway now.
Yeah.
And Chiche was saying it's been a real source of reflection for them. What happened to Argentina just goes to show you can't take anything for granted. And that as much as the final is on December 18th, if you lose this game, the final is the next game. Yeah. And that all of a sudden piles so much pressure on the team and on the players. You know, repeatedly, Chiche was asked yesterday, Brazil haven't won the World Cup since 2002. That's 20 years ago. And he was like, I can't bear responsibility for all of that. I've only been here. Well, this is only my second World Cup. The second World Cup cycle. So I'll take responsibility for the last 4 years. But he seemed to kind of be quite relaxed, very focused. As I said, there was a good atmosphere. They were saying Neymar, for example, and I saw this in training yesterday. he seems to be in really good spirits. Obviously, comes into this tournament more experienced than he was in 2014 when it was hosted in Brazil, not injured like he was in 2018. And so for all of those reasons, on the eve of their is the first game today, yeah, there's a lot of positivity.
We're going to be talking to Rafa Honigstein a little bit later on. He is also staying at Shea Horncastle, but he has had to head off to the first game of the day. Brazil against Serbia is the last game of the day, of course. Rafa is at Switzerland against Cameroon. We'll be hearing from him in a moment's time. We will also be hearing from Matt Slater, who went on an epic adventure from the Saudi border to the game that James mentioned between Argentina and Saudi Arabia, that big shock. And we will, of course, be going back to London as well to feature the latest radar player. But before all of that, let's just check in with David Ornstein, because he is out and about in Qatar today, just to check in with what is on his radar today.
Yeah. Hi, it's David Ornstein here at Souk Waqif, which is really the atmospheric heart of the World Cup. It's where fans come to congregate day and night. There's a really good vibe, and especially today, because Brazil begin their campaign trying to go for a sixth trophy, and also, as you can see, there's a lot of excitement here. In particular, from USA fans. We'll come on to them in a moment. Portugal are also in action. That brings Cristiano Ronaldo onto the grass. So much talk around him in recent days following his departure from Manchester United. They're playing Ghana in the 974 Stadium. I'm going to be going to that game. But before then, I'll be travelling south a short distance to Al Wakra, where England train. And they'll be going through their final session before that USA match. 15 minutes of the session will be open for us to have a look at, so we'll see if Kane is out there, because as we revealed on The Athletic, Kane underwent a scan on his right ankle, and reports suggest that scan has come back positive and that he should have the all clear to take his place in the lineup. Of course, he suffered a knock in the Iran game, which England won handsomely, but afterwards I posted on social media some pictures of him walking through the mix zone, the interview area, with a light bit of strapping and also a bit of a limp. He was walking quite gingerly, but fingers crossed, if you're an England fan, that he's in good condition. And you can see the England fans here in high spirits as well. So otherwise, I'm going to be meeting some contacts, trying to work on some stories that we'll bring to you on The Athletic ahead of what should be another really good few days at the World Cup, and really important ones as well, with England in action, with Brazil, with Portugal. We've had some big shocks in terms of Argentina losing to Saudi Arabia, Japan beating Germany, but I think Spain really put a marker in the sand here in the desert with that 7-0 victory that makes clear to us that they're going to be one of the favourites for this tournament. It may only have been Costa Rica, but it was impressive and historic all the same.
David, thank you very much. It was indeed a very impressive victory last night. I was at the game at the Al Tumama Stadium, and it was a relatively slow start, but then they kicked into gear and they really kicked Costa Rica into touch. Spain next play Germany, and we mentioned Rafa Honigstein. Cutting a rather sorry for himself figure this morning, wasn't he?
Yeah, because as we said, he's not going to get to experience the pool if they keep playing like this. The thing is, Rafa was quite optimistic going into this tournament. He did outline the fact that they don't have a striker, as they've had in other World Cups, like Miroslav Klose. But it was a real shock how, just mentally, emotionally, the game got away from Germany, in much the same way that for Argentina, they had enough chances to beat Saudi Arabia, and 5 minute loss of control was enough for them to lose that game. So yeah, it just goes to show that it's why we love this competition. That countries that do have great football cultures but aren't tipped as favourites or tipped to go far in the competition can pull off these shocks, and really up against it now, Germany. Because Spain, I remember covering Italy at the Euros in 2020. Spain outplayed Italy in the semi-finals. They were outstanding. They just couldn't score. Italy went through to the final on penalties. And likewise, when Italy played Spain in the Nations League semi-finals, it was Spain who brought an end to Italy's 36-game unbeaten run, playing some great football. So that's not what you want if you're Germany right now, to be facing a team that is in such great form.
So we caught up with Rafa before he headed off to the Cameroon against Switzerland game. We recorded the Athletic Football podcast, which you can listen to in all your normal podcast places, poolside with James and Rafa. But let's hear from Rafa on just that German victory. What the hell happened? So we're here by the pool. This feels good, I think. Last night for you, Raf, I wouldn't have thought felt particularly good with Germany. The headline of your piece, what the hell happened? Have you got the answers?
I think so, but just to say, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel any better this morning. If anything, it feels maybe worse. A lot of Germany players were talking yesterday, and the big takeaway was that there were many reasons why a game that they had controlled, that they felt was almost theirs, slipped away in a catastrophic fashion. People were pointing at missed chances up front. They should have been a lot more efficient, more ruthless. Dare I say, all the German stereotypes weren't on show on Wednesday night. The defending, at least for the second goal, was absolutely comical. And in between, what happened was that they lost their way a little bit. Japan pushed up a bit. They put them under pressure, and you'd expect Germany to pass through them and stay calm, but they actually, little by little, lost control through wayward passing, through some people not showing up. As Gundogan put it very critically, Manuel Neuer said there wasn't enough movement, and Neuer and Gundogan even seemed sort of to question the quality of some of the players on the pitch, which shows you, in my view, that the big takeaway was that this team realized in a very painful way that they can't fully trust each other, and that bodes really badly for Sunday.
Yeah, some key issues raised by Rafa on the field. Then the main off-the-field issue, which was then carried back onto the field, was the situation with those One Love armbands. Germany feeling that they were unfairly pressurized by FIFA to not wear the armband. Manuel Neuer, obviously, the captain. But it was interesting speaking to Rafa. Once again, you can catch this in full on the Athletic Football podcast, about that issue, about the debate around it, and whether football players should be expected to make statements like this. This is what we chatted about a little bit earlier on.
I thought, as far as statements and gestures and sort of, football protests are concerned, which always tend to be, often tend to be a little bit naff and inauthentic, this was as good as it gets. Mm-hmm. It felt real. Talking to the players, it was clear that they had talked about this themselves. They'd come up with this idea, and I think it sent a really good message. What did you think?
Well, my gut feeling is, obviously there's been so much attention on this as an issue. Does it not just need someone to go, yeah, all right, fine, okay, I'll wear it? You need someone to make a stand. That's how you change things, no?
No, I don't think you can expect somebody who's trained their whole life to be here to risk expulsion. Or
but people sacrifice sometimes to make a change. No,
I know, but you can't expect it of everyone. Not everyone can be a hero. I don't think that's realistic.
No, but if
you could have sacrificed this job to make a point, but you're not. I'm not. A lot of people are dealing with Qatar, with Saudi. They could all make all sorts of moral stands, but they don't, because they still have a life and they have other things to consider. I don't think we should ever expect somebody to be a hero. Yes, there are genuine heroes who risk a lot, but I don't think that should be our natural expectations, because we don't hold ourselves to the same standards.
Yeah, so that was Rafa and I sort of exchanging our views on the matter. What's your view on it, James? Because you were very, very silent and polite there, almost looking like Rafa's bodyguard.
No, I can see Rafa's point. He said no one should be expected to have to be a hero. But no, I love David Bowie. I mean, ultimately, we can be heroes just for one day. And if the sacrifice is a yellow card or something, I think it's a sacrifice worth making. Because ultimately, if we didn't protest and we just conformed, if we were just indifferent, people go out on the streets at risk of being arrested. I understand that a World Cup comes around every 4 years, but I also think that the PR for FIFA, for the organizing committee of booking someone for protesting, docking points, fining, would surely discourage them from doing that. So ultimately, I'm pleased that Germany took the stand that they did yesterday with the gesture that they made. I kind of hope others follow, because I think one of the reasons why that was so powerful was everyone else seems to have backed down and conformed. And you don't need to do that. You can do what Germany have done.
Yeah, it's sort of the best halfway house at the moment, I suppose. But that image of a referee booking a player for showing support for human rights, for the LGBT community.
Imagine a referee putting that in his report. Took a stand against a human rights issue or something like that. I mean, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, the action of actually doing it would maybe elevate it even further. However, we understand both sides of the story. Just a couple of quick mentions on a piece that you've got out today on Neymar that people can go out and read. Obviously, one of the big stars of the tournament that we're looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, people forget most expensive player in football history. 222 million, bought by the Qatari-owned PSG. And it really feels that, when Neymar left Barcelona to go to Paris Saint-Germain, it was to strike out on his own, step out of Messi's shadow, become the next Ballon d'Or winner. And, even as Messi and Ronaldo's time has kind of waned, it's the twilight for them. It's Luka Modric who's won the Ballon d'Or on the back of a World Cup performance. It's Karim Benzema who's won it. It hasn't been Neymar. And, for him to talk a few weeks ago about this perhaps being his last World Cup, because he is 29, 30, the next month will really define his legacy in world football, but particularly in Brazil's football pantheon, as to whether he goes alongside the likes of Pele, Ronaldo, Romario, Zico, those kind of players. So it's a huge tournament for him. And the encouraging thing is he actually goes into it in great form. He's fit. He's not carrying an injury like he was in 2018. So I'm excited to watch him.
You mentioned the Brazilian Ronaldo there. Just a quick word on Cristiano Ronaldo starting today against Ghana. In terms of his legacy, there's lots of flies around. And the big news about him leaving Manchester United and potentially, where is he going to go? Is Italy an option? Is there any truth in that? I mean, where do you see it?
I think it's difficult at this moment in time. Of course, there's now no longer a fee that someone has to pay. But I mean, in Italy, one of the attractions when he first went there in 2018 with Juventus was the tax breaks that they have. But the football landscape since the pandemic hit has really changed. Mainland European football. It's not recession-proof in the way that the Premier League is. There are no state wealth clubs in Italy like Paris Saint-Germain and Man City or Newcastle. And as much as Napoli were kind of interested in the summer when Jorge Mendes floated the idea, Luciano Spalletti, the Napoli coach, even entertained it, said who wouldn't want to coach Cristiano? But Napoli are doing so well without him. Far out in front in Serie A, chance to win the league for the first time since 1990. Would you really want to kind of unsettle that dynamic? I don't think so. So, I think that makes Italy a tough destination, really, for Cristiano. So we'll see. That's one of the things I'm sure David will be talking to his contacts about in the souk or at the game. And it's the one thing that, we'll be looking to find out more about from the palatial villa that we're staying in. So there we go. You never know.
And a quick word on Lionel Messi. You mentioned about Neymar trying to define his legacy. It's all on these next two games to get back on track for Argentina, isn't it?
Yeah. On the one hand, they're not playing Spain like Germany are, but Mexico are not a team to be taken lightly, nor are Poland. There's a lot of talent on that Polish team. But it's very interesting, the contrasting reactions to Argentina's shock and Germany's shock. When I was in the mix zone after that game, all of the Argentina players just trudged through. They didn't want to look at the journalists. No one stopped. Whereas with Germany, 3 or 4 of the leaders stopped.
Yeah.
With Argentina, only Messi did. And Messi is the captain, but it felt like he was taking all of the responsibility on his shoulders. Yeah. And there's already so much for him with it being his last World Cup. And there was a feeling that winning the Copa America in 2021, which Argentina hadn't done in 23 years, alleviated that pressure. It felt that he owed Argentina nothing. He'd done something special. But immediately after this game, that pressure is back on.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see how those players react to their first setback in 35 games, because they were on that long unbeaten run where everything was going right for them. And that's why it was such a huge blow to lose, and not just lose to, a Germany or a Spain, but to lose to Saudi Arabia, something they absolutely were not expecting.
Yeah.
So let's see how they react on Saturday in Lusail.
James, really appreciate you inviting us to your palatial villa.
Next time we'll do it in the pool.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Probably the viewers are probably thinking, please don't.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll take that feedback on board. We won't do it in the pool. Okay.
But just another word, and I'll pop back at the end of the show before we head back to London, on obviously the main story of that game between Argentina and Saudi Arabia was the victory for the Saudis. And what an adventure Matt Slater had. He went to the Saudi border and then came all the way back with the fans. This was his journey. Have a look.
Okay, I'm on the shuttle bus from the Qatar-Saudi border, where all the Saudi fans had to park, and this is a park and ride scheme, a big shuttle all the way to the game. Some of these guys, Mohammed here, he set off 3-4 hours ago. He's a Chelsea fan and now a Newcastle fan. He's looking forward to the game. These buses have been going by at about every 5 minutes. We are in the desert, quite literally. Half an hour away from the stadium, we hope. There's some concern on the bus that our driver isn't driving fast enough. We've been overtaken by 6 or 7 buses, and he's now getting a driving lesson. I think he just said I'll drive. So I think we can all sympathise. We've all been on buses before. We've all been in a hurry to get to the stadium. And this is again, football unites us. We're all the same. So it's been a very long journey, and I don't know about you, but I'm actually gasping for a cup of tea. So can I? Thank you. Can I trouble you for one of those? Look at it. Thanks very much. There it is. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, it's lovely. It's really nice. These are the last Saudi fans. To be honest, they're going to have to get a bit of a move on. The stadium is over there. This is the brand new city, the Croydon of Doha. We're a few stops away. Let's go. I've come a long way. Okay, I've made it. I think my friends Farhad, Mohammed, Abdullah, hopefully they're in the ground as well. I'm going in this way, they're going in that way. It's been a really, really positive experience. It's been really smooth. I'm really impressed. All the Saudi guys I spoke to were impressed. They are football mad. This feels like a real Arab football occasion. There's going to be there's going to be 80,000 plus in here. We know what the capacities are like, probably 90,000. It's going to be 50-50. Argentina, Saudi. A lot of Saudi fans love Messi. They love him. They've been telling me they can't lose today. It's great. Absolutely brilliant. This feels great.
They couldn't lose because they won. That was a really, really amazing match day.
It was indeed. It was fun following Matt as well. Love Matt.
Hello, viewer. If you're just tuning in, this is The Radar, brought to you from The Athletic. What we do is we create a little cheat sheet guide to 100 players that we think can have a fantastic World Cup 2022. And if you're interested in more about said players, you can sign up now to The Athletic at www.theathletic.com/Black Friday. Today, on match day 5, we want to talk about that man there, Mr. Inaki Williams, 28 years of age, the forward for Athletic Bilbao. If you are down in the pub later today watching Portugal versus Ghana, or you're indeed talking about World Cup in your group chat, and you want to know a little bit more about the Ghanaian superstar, well, as you can see by my attire, you've come to the right place. Mr. Bailey, should we talk about why this guy is so interesting?
I think we absolutely should. I'll bring the objective nature, and you can bring the Ghanaian
Of course,
nature.
of course.
I think you're very excited about today.
I'm very excited about today. This is Ghana's 4th World Cup. They are currently ranked the lowest of the 32 nations at this World Cup. But as we've seen from victories from Saudi Arabia and from Japan, underdogs can do something here. But before we begin, I want to put my finger on my ear and go, Producer Jonesy, could you give me a lovely little Smart Scout pizza chart?
I love our pizza charts.
Amazing. Right. If you're just tuning in, the Smart Scout pizza chart, what they do is they break down a player. They give them a score between 0 and 99 in any specific given action for a player. We then create a bit like a FIFA score. I love a little pizza chart to show you what they're good at and what they might be not so good at. Like a good pizza chart, the bigger the slice, the better the person is in those actions. So, Mr. Bailey, what can you tell me about Inaki Williams statistically? And I'll either nod my head or go no, based on my very non-partisan opinion on him.
You've got a much better view of the pizza chart because I'm struggling to see it. And I'm wincing a little bit because from here it looks a bit like an aeroplane. But I mean, there's been some debate, I think, through his career. I mean, he's 28 now, isn't he?
Yep.
He's there's been some debate over where his best position is, but I think he's, as we can see from the chart, he's got very good link-up play.
Yep.
Someone, I think, I mean, his progressive pass receptions are very high, which tells me that his movement is very good.
Yep.
He's able to get into good positions where he can break attacking lines. And maybe his goal scoring record hasn't been as good as other forwards, but it's that link up play. He sort of is I've written down here, he's a gluey player.
Yes.
He's sort of a bit, I've made that up, would you believe? I don't even think it's a word.
They call it the glue guy in
Exactly.
basketball and
Thank you.
American
Oh,
sport.
yeah.
But yeah, he's the glue guy. He is, I mean, one thing that you can dazzle your mates with in the group chats is he's the marathon man. He's played 247 consecutive games in La Liga, which is a record. Ernesto Valverde's more recently moved him to play up front for Athletic Bilbao, where he's played his entire club career. He's got something like 335 appearances for that side, which famously only really chooses best players or players that have come through their academy. So once you're in, and you're quite expensive to remove. Isn't that right?
Yes, indeed. And he is very expensive to remove, I think, as well. But I mean, it's easy to rattle off the number. That is like 5+ seasons of never missing a game. I remember someone in football telling me, the best ability any player can have is availability.
Yeah.
Because then they're there. I know, but we've all probably heard that before. But it's just a remarkable run, even if providing a bit of substance to the team, to be that available.
Yep.
It's just incredible.
Inaki Williams' mother says the secret to his longevity is good, hard Ghanaian food, including jollof rice and banku and tilapia stew. Having eaten both of those things all the time, I don't really have many sick days at work either. She's onto something.
Can I get in on that?
Yeah, maybe once.
Excellent. That's my evening sorted. Carry on.
The really interesting thing about Inaki Williams, while he's played so many games for Athletic Bilbao, this being today, this match day, if he does play against Portugal, will be only his 4th cap for Ghana. He is one of a number of new recruits from this Ghanaian national side.
This is really interesting, isn't it? Also, we've got his brother, Nico, who performed for Spain last night in their route of Costa Rica. So I'm really interested by that because this is almost a new look Ghana side, and Inaki's a kind of a big part of that.
Yeah. So Ghana had basically scratched and clawed their way to this World Cup. Daniel Amati fell politely in one of their final World Cup qualifying group games against South Africa, which helped them get to the playoff stage.
Is this subjective, Carl? Is this subjective? We're okay?
Some letters between governments were sent.
Okay.
I'll put it that way. And then they had a 2-legged playoff tie against Nigeria that they won via away goals. And ever since then, back to that 2-legged playoff tie in March, they have recruited a number of players with dual national. So players that could have declared for another team. And Inaki Williams is their sort of leading light in the forward positions. According to a very lengthy Facebook post by a member of the GFA, it took something like 10 people in the meeting room to convince Inaki to declare for Ghana, while his brother Nico went, thanks, but no thanks. Big things will be expected of Inaki Williams, but also there's no guarantee he's going to start. The forward position, the number 9 position, is typically held by Andrew Ayew. Swansea City fans may remember him. He's still the captain, and he's also the son of Abde Pele, who's the greatest Ghanaian player of all time. That's not me being a fan. That's just a fact. And even though Andrew Ayew is not as young as he used to, he is the captain.
Plus 30.
Plus 30. He is still the captain, and he could set the record for the most appearances for Ghana at this tournament. So he might be the leading number 9, and Inaki Williams might play on the left-hand side. This is going to be a really backs against the wall performance from Ghana at this game. I will be live blogging this for The Athletic. So again, try and sign up, theathletic.com/Black Friday if you want £1 a month for the next 12 months. And at some point during that blog, I'll probably just start hammering yes on the keyboard. It'll be good analysis though. Don't worry.
I still think we should live stream you live blogging that game, because I think it's just going to be an entertainment experience.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's Inaki Williams. We think he's neat. Right. I'm going to bring Adam back in. Hi, Adam. How you doing?
That was so smooth.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm all good. I just wanted to mention one of the other games that's going on today and get your reaction, Carl, to the name when I mention him. We haven't really mentioned Uruguay against South Korea. And everyone is looking forward to seeing Luis Suarez have a good tournament, aren't we?
I would...
Give him a minute. Give him a minute. Give him a minute.
I'm fine. I'm calm.
Explain the context for anyone that doesn't understand.
Well, during a certain World Cup quarter-final stage, Luis Suarez did a sort of volleyball save on the line when it looked as if Ghana were going to be the first African team to make it to the World Cup semi-finals. So Suarez is persona non grata and enemy number 1 of Ghana. Uruguay versus Ghana is the final group game of the group stages, essentially. Yeah, maybe this shirt will let you know what my thoughts are towards that man. Oops. You are playing South Korea today. Will you be attending that?
I'm not going to that game, no. I'm slated to go to the final game of the day, which is Brazil against Serbia. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the Brazilians. And it was interesting hearing from James Horncastle earlier on. If you haven't heard him or Rafa Hornstein or David Ornstein or seen that Matt Slater video yet, you can obviously scoot back on the on your social platform and have a look at those. But when James was talking about the fact that Brazil are seemingly quite relaxed and they are the last team to play in this tournament, and they've seen some big guns struggle, some others do quite well, and they seem to be quite serene, which, look, we don't know what's going to happen against Serbia, but the fact that it sounds as if Brazil are cool and calm and collected, maybe they'll just let their samba feet do the talking, and it might be the tournament for them. Who's your pick, guys? Michael?
Spain looked very good, obviously, but I think we'll see. They always look lovely to watch. So if you mean in terms of the World Cup in general, Adam, it's hard. In the context, England's win does actually look very good so far. So I think...
Are you starting to believe?
No, I'm not. But I just, stating the fact that was a good win. And we're not sitting there thinking they need to win their next game because it's their final, because they've, tripped up already. So that's very England-centric. I appreciate it. How about you, Carl?
France took a while to get going against Australia, but I think any team that's got Kylian Mbappe in it will always have a puncher's chance of getting far in this tournament. Netherlands didn't play well for the majority of their game against Senegal, but they won 2-0. And in the end, they kept a clean sheet, and Senegal didn't really look with any chance of scoring a goal. However, the great Pele said the World Cup only begins properly when Brazil play. So I'm holding my colour until Brazil do play. I think this group of Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. Thank you for that.
My team.
This one has the potential to be a group of death. Everyone sort of assumes that Brazil will top it, and then it will be a sort of scrap for second place. But you never know. You never know. Anyway, Mr. Leventhal, what shall we talk about next? He's thinking.
Yeah, I guess we. Sorry, I think I'm having I had a little glitch there, a little hiccup. I think it was probably my body telling me that I need to jump in the pool, but then realizing that I'm fully clothed holding a microphone, so that would probably not be a good idea. But guys, it's been great to have you on board as always. Enjoy the analysis of Iñaki Williams, and we're going to leave you as you head into another day of 4 games here at the World Cup. Sorry, something nearly fell over. That there has been many games that have gone the distance, beyond the distance, almost to forever with all of this stoppage time. So let's leave you with Matt Slater, who has a great explainer as to why that has been happening. Goodbye from London, goodbye from Qatar. We'll leave you with Matt Slater.
Forget Fergie time, this is FIFA time. So look, the story of course is what's going on with these match times? It's supposed to finish, Brett, blow up. The games are getting longer, added time is being properly policed, substitutions, VAR decisions, goal celebrations, it's all going on the clock. Well, FIFA's official line, which they delivered in this building on Saturday, I think it was, the referee's chief, Pierluigi Collina, told us all, we are very concerned about the reduction in active play. They've been tracking this for a while. They're seeing the ball's only in play for 43, 44, 45 minutes a game. Not good enough. They know that there's too much time wasting going on. So he said, guys, you could get 7 or 8 minutes a half. We could easily have 100-minute games. And that's what's happened. He said it was going to happen. They've delivered. Yes. I mean, whether this will happen in quite the same way in domestic football, I don't know. But FIFA are serious about this. And one of the things that's going on in the background is there is this call for actually 60-minute active stop clock, just like there is in rugby, where ball in play, the clock is running, ball out of play, substitution, VAR decision, goal celebration, the clock goes off. And you know exactly how much time there is to play. Arsene Wenger, who is the technical director of FIFA, loves that idea. He also loves the idea of kick-ins as well as opposed to throw-ins. So look, there's lots of things going on in the periphery, but I definitely think this trend towards more added time is here to stay.